Hey guys, this is Pastor Mike. I want to talk about who Jesus is today, so let's get into it. Okay, so we're going to be digging into the book of Colossians, chapter 1, verses 1 through 15. 1 through 15. We want to answer the question, who is Jesus? So let's dig in. And this is a question that people have wrestled with for at least the last couple thousand years. Some people suggest that he was merely a peacemaker or a prophet. Some people would say that he was a brilliant teacher with misguided followers. Unfortunately, some would also say that he was a lunatic and a liar. And regardless of who you think Jesus was or who you think Jesus is, he's the most significant human ever to exist. His birth literally changed the calendar from BC to AD, at least in the Western world, how we keep our calendar. So that's kind of cool, right? So Paul wrote the letter to the Colossians, this is the book of Colossians, to help young believers make sense of their newly found faith. When Paul was discipling and developing this new church in the Roman Empire, he started with the basics. And what's the most pivotal part of Christian theology? I mean, it's got to be Jesus, right? And that's where Paul started. Unfortunately, some false teachers at that time had spread a fictional theory about the nature of who Jesus was. And so Paul set the record straight. The apostle explained the Son, Jesus, is the image of the invisible God, the firstborn over all creation. And that's chapter 1, verse 15. So the word image here is used, the Greek was closely related to the word mirror. And what does Paul mean? So if you were to gaze in the eyes of Jesus, you were gazing into the eyes of God. To know Jesus is to know God. Jesus is God in the flesh. This is why Christianity is so distinct from other faith traditions and other religions around the world. In every other religion, people are required to find God. They're required, and they're required to do things. They have to say the right prayer, chant the correct phrases, or practice a specific discipline to encounter God. Jesus flips religion on its head, and he did so like crazy at that time period. That's why people, the Pharisees at the time, they just really hated this guy because he was overturning their system. So we don't have to find God. God has found us. That's the big difference. So God stepped down from heaven and onto this rocky terrain. And at that time, it would have been ancient Palestine. And Jesus invites you now, just like he did the people then, to join a kingdom turned upside down. Turned upside down. And we experience life through the death of Jesus, because of his crucifixion, his death on the cross, but then resurrection. And God shows his strength through our weakness. And we receive by letting go. We've got to let go. And it's confusing. I know sometimes it's maybe a little captivating, but it's worth celebrating. It's worth celebrating that God has found us. And all we have to simply do is say yes and accept the gift that he has given to us. Jesus is the image of the invisible. We want to remember that. And Jesus is the initiator of the impossible. That's who Jesus is. All right, guys, I hope that's helpful for you. I hope it's encouraging, and I'll see you in the next one.